In today's video, we're going to review how to set up the remote access on your folding at home rigs. You can see here on the left side, we have a local machine and we have a remote machine. The local machine is the computer that we are working on currently, and the remote machine is the one that we have access to. This is a nice feature to be able to have all your folding at home rigs in one place. To set up this feature, we're going to need a couple things before we begin. Please set all your FAH rigs to a static IP address on your local network. Many standard routers will refer to this as IP reservation. I like to set the last IP octet to be .1xx with xx corresponding with my folder's computer number. So folding 10 would look like 192.168.1.110, but any scheme you decide will work. Make sure you know the IP address of the computer you will be controlling the rest of the folders from. Now that we have that, let's get into it. On the folding at home controller, you want to go up to the configure in the upper left hand corner from the machine that you're looking to control. Now, we are working on the actual controller, but the setup's going to be identical on every single one of your machines. So the first thing we need to do is set a password. I like to use the same password on all my machines, so that way it's a universal password and I know what it is on all of them. The next thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go up to remote access. Under remote access, you're going to type in that same password in this section. Once you're done with that, you scroll down to IP address restriction, and this is where you're going to add the controller's IP address. So in my situation, I'm going to add 192.168.1.4. That tells this rig that both these IP addresses are allowed to control this computer and access it remotely. If you have additional computers that you would like to control all of your folding at home rigs, you simply need to add additional IP addresses using spaces. So if I put a space after this and put 192.168.1.5, then all three of these computers are going to be allowed to control all of the folding at home rigs. If you need a range of IPs, you can use a comma or a hyphen to tell the system that you need a range. So in this example, anything between .4 and .100 will be allowed to control this particular rig. The next section allows for a controller to not require a password to control a rig. I do not recommend changing anything in this section as you should be using a password, so please leave this as is. That's all the changes we need to make in this section. I'm going to remove this second series of IP addresses because I control all my rigs from just one computer. Once you are done with all your settings, please hit save and we will move on to the next section. Now you need to repeat this process on all of your folding at home rigs. Keep in mind, if you're on Windows, you need to go into your firewall settings and allow an app through. The app you're going to need to allow through is the FAH client. Please allow it through private and public networks. If you're on Linux and Windows, you need to make sure you restart your computer completely after making the changes, so the FAH controller will apply them. Once you have that all done, you're going to look in the lower left-hand corner of your controller and hit the Add button. This is going to add your remote clients. Give your client a name. I use the scheme Folding 07, Folding 08, and so forth. Type in the IP address of the corresponding computer, keep the port the same unless you've changed it, and type in your universal password. Once you hit save, this should connect your computer. Now you can see Folding A has populated on the left-hand side. When you repeat this process with all of your folding at home rigs, they will all populate here. And you can click on them and view their various stats, looking at their points per day, looking at if they're running, looking at if they're online, and so forth. And you can also configure them from here. So if you actually go up in the left-hand corner to configure, and you're clicked on Folding 08, you'll see I'm actually controlling the rig Folding 08. If you click back on local and go up to configure, you'll see I'm actually dealing with the local computer. So this is a neat way to be able to avoid using something like TeamViewer to configure or check the points per day on all of your folding at home rigs. You can also look at the system info of each individual rigs. And you can also look at the log on each individual rig. So now let's take this time to add all of our FAH rigs to our controller. I'm going to go through and add all of my FAH rigs and I will meet back here in a moment. Now you can see I have all my folding at home rigs online. You'll actually see that Folding 22 is stuck on connecting. That's because I have this computer off. So if one of your computer actually shuts down or isn't online, you will actually see that here in the controller. So that's an easy way to be able to see what rigs are down. So let's review some of the changes. If you look in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see that I have a total of 11.6 million points per day. This is collectively adding all of your folding at home rigs. The upper right-hand points per day is still the one of the individual one you're clicked on. So Folding 37 right now is 1.18 million, and Folding 23 is 1.13 million. That's all there is to the setup. If you have any questions or concerns or need help getting these online, please join us on our Discord and ask the community questions. Everybody there is extremely helpful and willing to help. Now, if this is all you need and this is sufficient for you, you can stop watching the video now. But I have another application that I like to run that was made by a folding user years ago. It's called HFM.net. HFM.net is an open source program that is also used to help control and view your rigs. I will have a link in the video notes to where you can find this. I'm looking here on the foldingforum.org page, and if you scroll down, you will see their GitHub. When you click their GitHub, it will bring you to the page to where they have a link to a Google Drive doc. Go ahead and click this, download it, and once it's downloaded, you just run the application on your front page. It installs like a normal Windows program. Looking here, you'll see it's blank when we begin clearly, but when you go to Clients and Add Client, you can start adding your folding at home rigs in the same manner you did on the folding at home controller. So I will go ahead and add this one, the folding controller, and since this is the local computer, we will use the 127 IP. When you hit test connection, you'll see it's online, and when you hit OK, it'll add there. Let's go ahead and add all of our folding at home rigs in the same manner we did last time and meet back here. Now that they're all added, you can see the benefit of using a program like HFM. Everything's in a line, unlike on the FAH controller where you have to click one individually. You can see them all here in just an ongoing list. So it has the progress, it has what kind of work unit it's working on, the slot ID. It's a really neat tool to be able to just quickly have a glance at what all your machines are doing. On the left hand side, you'll see there's a green status bar. Those will go yellow if something is wrong with it, or they'll go orange if something's wrong with it. You'll see that the user ID is actually in orange right now, and that's because this comes pre-configured on the overclockers team, but there is a way to change the team. On the bottom toolbar, you'll see some information about a team project 24 hours. These are not your stats. You need to change these to be yours. So you'll see at the bottom now, these stats are actually mine because I've changed them in the preferences. So if you go up to Edit and Preferences, and you go to Web Settings, you'll see right here, these are the three things that you're going to need to change. I've already changed them to mine. So looking at Extreme Overclocking User ID, if you hit Test EOC, you'll see this actually comes up to my page. This is the number you're looking for in the URL. You need to put your user number right here into the preferences found here. Same with the Stanford user ID. That one's also found on this same page right here. It's also found in your clients. And last, you want to put in your team number. This is the team that you're associated with. I'm on the CureCoin team, so I'm 224497. Once you put those in, the bottom information will now be yours. Now you'll see I have this one on a different username. This one is still coming up orange because it's not corresponding with these. So if you have multiple usernames, you're not going to be able to have everything on the bottom be accurate. So just keep that in mind. So it's a pretty neat program. I hope you all check it out. And thanks for watching the video. And please join us in the Discord once again if you have any questions or concerns. Happy folding.